Patrick a bit about if we're going to make these environments more accessible for people who have mental health issues, what the leadership, because we have a lot of leaders there, we have a lot of HR managers, what sort of competencies do we actually need to promote and develop within organisations in order to make sure, I'm looking for something practical so that we can give people some solutions.
Okay, thank you. I'm very aware that today I'm here not only as a psychologist and a training consultant, but I'm also an employer. So I own my own business and I have a staff. And I thought a lot about how do I fulfill my responsibility as an employer to safeguard the mental health of my people. And it's not easy because you need to run the business, you need to make sure that the business thrives. And the only solution I came up with consists of, I call them my 4 Ps. And it's not because my name is Patrick Psyla, because that would make it 6 Ps. And my company is Psy Potential, so it's 2 Ps. So my life is full of Ps. It's very simple: to prioritize people and purpose over profit. There's no other way, right? So unless what I expect as profit from my company is reasonable and doesn't put excessive demands, unrealistic demands, greedy demands on my people, they're going to burn out, they're going to be stressed out, and they're going to be unhappy, okay? Which in the long term isn't good for the business anyway, you know? But we do live in a reality where we don't all have the luxury of being shareholders, and very often what I see is that leaders get caught in this really difficult situation of having to satisfy shareholders, because the shareholders and the employers will tell them, if you don't fulfill, I'll invest elsewhere, right? Or I'll find someone else who does. And creating an environment that is conducive to mental health. And that, to me, is one of the most difficult dilemmas that we have to navigate. So even being the leader of my own organization, I tell my staff, like, you know, give me some slack, because you really have to figure out how to run the operation in a way that we all still have a job. So as you can imagine, during COVID, it was crazy, you know? But I'm proud to say that we all made sacrifices, including myself, and we survived COVID, no layoffs, and we managed to break even, which for me is a success, you know? It's a success. So I think we need to recognize the root of the problem, and the root of the problem is partly greed, right? If we work for companies where it's never enough, okay, there's no such thing as enough, we always want more, more, more and more, then obviously we want to push people to their limit. And we can talk all day long about healthy lifestyles and work-life balance and all that, because the truth is that we're put on this treadmill and we're expected to thrive. Having said that, there are definitely very beautiful success stories of companies that we work for who really take this seriously and have a lot of give a lot of importance to the well-being of their employees. And I don't think it's a grim picture. I think it's getting better. Unfortunately, but this is the reality, the best way to sell well-being and mental health being taken seriously in an organization is to make a business case and to persuade employers that it's good for the business, you know? So caring is actually good for the business, long term, right? Long term. So that's the first one. The other thing is, I think there are, from my experience in working with organizations, so there are two main sources of stress and pressure. And what I noticed today is that we haven't mentioned burnout. And burnout is a mental health condition. The World Health Organization has now recognized burnout as a condition, a mental health condition. And I think two of the main sources of burnout. One is the sense of overwhelm. Okay, so ask yourselves. Okay, if you spend most of your day feeling overwhelmed, okay, that is conducive and probably will result at some point, unless it's addressed, in being burnt out. So one of the things that we tell leaders is to get to know where your people are and manage their workloads. Okay? And we have a lot of research about this. Even working more than 40 hours a week, there's actually a statistic where, I forgot the exact details, you can check me on this, but working something like 50 hours a week is enough to increase your risk of heart disease. And so this is 50, we're not saying 60 or 80, we're saying 50, right? 10 hours a day. And so managing workload, I think, is critical. The other is the way we manage people, right? And what we are encouraged to do, as a company, our mission statement is dual. One is to be a force for good in everything that we do, and the other is to humanize the workplace. And if we manage to create a truly human experience, Paul will talk more about this in terms of psychological safety, but if we truly create an environment that is respectful, where there is compassion, where there is listening, where our role as leaders is to look after the people who do the work, not to look after the work, right? Our role as leaders is to look after the people who do the work and truly treat them as people, right? Then the competencies, which are many, I have a whole list here, there are many, and maybe we'll get a chance to talk a little bit about them. But just in case I don't have a chance to talk about them, I'm going to mention just one. Okay? That as leaders and managers, we look after ourselves. Because what happens to us when we become overwhelmed and when we burn out and when we feel unhealthy is that we start doing crazy things, right? We start taking decisions that go against our values. We start snapping at people. We start losing it. We start, getting greedy. And we start not liking ourselves as well. So I think the first step is actually to look after our own mental health and make sure that we're in a position where we can deal with the multiple demands of being a leader, which is no joke. It's a tall order. So let me stop here for now, and then we'll see what comes up.